Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about fundamentalist Christianity. It embraces biblical literalism. The absolute authority and inerrancy of the Bible interpreted literally is basic to fundamentalist Christianity. In fact, you might say it's fundamental. Literally, it is fundamental to what they... Anyway, the problem with reading the Bible literally is when you read it that way, it gets a lot of stuff wrong, particularly the bits about the creation of Earth and early human history, which I'll actually get to in more detail in a few minutes. You can see how taking literally a book that gets a lot of stuff wrong while simultaneously holding the conviction that that book is the ultimate authority on everything could lead to some bad things. This sort of biblical literalism and inerrancy contributes to all sorts of problems that fundamentalist Christianity runs into. What sorts of problems might fundamentalist Christianity run into? Well, for example, it promotes bad science. Fundamentalist Christians are encouraged to accept all sorts of propositions, special creations for Earth and humanity, a universe that is less than 10,000 years old, sin as the ultimate cause of disease and death, which are simply false. These aren't philosophical or religious questions that we'll just have to agree to disagree about. These are things that simply did not happen. Modern science has ruled them out in favor of better explanations backed up by solid, compelling evidence. But of course, it's not just science that fundamentalist Christianity thumbs its nose at. It distorts history. Obviously, by embracing young Earth creationism, it distorts cosmological and geological history, but fundamentalism also warps human history. Major events in the history of humanity, as told by Christianity, events like the fall of man, the Great Flood, the Tower of Babel, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, the binding of Isaac, the life of Moses, and the 40 years Israel spent wandering in the wilderness, almost certainly never happened at all. Ditto for the major events in the life of Jesus, including what Christians consider the most important occurrence in all of history, the resurrection of Jesus. But it doesn't just offer people an invalid view of history as a chain of events. It also flatters people by framing all of human history as some kind of a cosmic drama being played out, created by God himself to determine the ultimate fate of the souls of humanity. This view that we are the most important thing to the God who created the universe can lead to some negative consequences as well. It encourages elitism and entitlement. When you examine what fundamentalist Christians believe, it isn't difficult to understand why some of them are so overbearing in wanting to see those beliefs expressed through politics and law. If you believe that your scripture is perfect and the ultimate authority, and that you and your church have no less than the creator of the universe behind you, it's inevitable that some of you are eventually going to start thinking that you and people who think like you ought to be running the show. Why shouldn't the law impose the values of your church on everyone else? After all, they aren't your values. They're God's values. And if things like gay equality and evolutionary biology and abortion and secularism and religious pluralism contradict God's values, well, who are we to argue? Which brings us round quite nicely to number 5. It holds us all back. Religious fundamentalism, and here in the U.S., fundamentalist Christianity in particular, is a chain around the neck of our species. As science and social progress continue to pull us forward, fundamentalism is constantly exerting force in the opposite direction. Of all the stupid things about fundamentalism, the ignorance, the bigotry, the hubris, this might be the stupidest and the most dangerous. The sooner we can throw off this chain and allow ourselves to move forward guided by the knowledge of the present rather than the superstitions of the ancient past, the better it will be for all of us. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.